All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily brief. Back in the saddle, we got a really full room here today. We got a full slate of presentations and information that hopefully you can all use to your benefit. I think probably what we should do is maybe just I'll do just a very, very brief overview of what I saw sort of happen in the market here overnight. What we're seeing. I don't see a lot of change going on in the market, but so we'll just do a couple minutes review. Then we got to hop into presentations. We got a full slate of stuff to talk about here today, and people bringing you some great information. So I think probably the best thing is we just hit the ground running here. But always good to introduce my co-host, the Mayor of Vienna, driving the bus. Hopefully he's got a shirt on today. How you doing this morning, Alex?
I'm pretty good, Brian. How are you?
Excellent, thanks. Somebody, I thought it was interesting before we started up, somebody said that it was kind of amusing seeing a Canadian and an Austrian debating about U.S. politics in the TRI lounge, which I thought was actually a pretty interesting observation. But obviously, we had a very big political event that happened overnight yesterday in the United States of America. And that was the midterm elections that we've been talking a lot about over the past week or so. And, because we are speculators in the marketplace, and really the marketplace is international, it doesn't really care. But, the United States of America is sort of the economic engine of the world. So as a result, as goes the internal politics of the United States of America, often the market follows course. So it is kind of important for us to keep an eye on what's sort of the tone out of the United States. And frankly speaking, hopefully, hope, we can maybe go back into a world of where the politicians aren't sort of undermining us on a regular basis and changing the rules and putting up crazy ass, actually, it was interesting. I had a really great dinner last night with some people here locally in Vancouver, and we were kind of joking about how, maybe you might want to be invested in pot stocks, for example. But the environment over the past couple of years, having Mr. Trump just sort of carte blanche to do whatever he wants, he sort of put up, crazy rules like if a Canadian goes over the U.S. border and is asked if they invested in any U.S. marijuana companies, they can literally be banned for life. I mean, this kind of crazy sort of dictatorial, just out of left field policies. Hopefully we're going to head into an environment where maybe there's, Mr. Executive Branch has got a bit of a leash on him, and maybe we can all be sort of, calmer, gentler people in our society. But we'll see. Only time will tell. I personally, we talked lots about this checks and balances in the system. I actually like the fact that the government now in the United States is balanced. There's one political party that is controlling one part of their government, another political party is controlling another part of the government, and hopefully what should end up happening is gridlock. I mean, the politicians just don't do anything. Don't screw stuff up for us, and we can go back into the market and just trade away and have fun. So we'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. But what I did notice sort of, I think 2016 election caught a lot of people off guard, and we saw some really insane price volatility. If anything, kind of what I saw develop last night was as this kind of notion that, maybe the politicians are going to back away from tinkering with the market too much. And so as a result, we just sort of calm down a little bit. Where's the chart that I wanted to show you guys? Not that one. I guess it was over here. I had on the screen last night. In fact, actually, it was kind of a fun experiment. I just hit the record button and just threw up a bunch of charts on YouTube, and just we were actually, when I was at Andrew's house last night, we just sort of were watching as the charts were moving along. But what was most interesting was, lots of FU moves, like the bonds did a beautiful FU move. We were talking about that last night. And the stocks, gold did a nice FU move through the event, actually on both sides. Can you see how they washed the market both sides last night through that? And if anything, I think probably the biggest sort of, not the end of the world. Stocks opened up much happier this morning. And it looks like the stock market wants to go and break this bearish AB equals CD that was forming. You can see RSIs, just basically making higher highs and higher lows as we stand right now. But what I find really interesting about this is that, and I was sort of tweeting about this morning, I mean, what was the reason why the stock market came off here? Was it because of politics, or was it because of something else going on? And I personally think it has everything to do with the cost of borrowing and the cost of money. And so I sort of put out this morning that, okay, now the political stuff is aside. Now we can get back to actually what's driving the market and the good old TED spread. And you can see euro dollars are still sort of trending lower, i.e. prices are heading lower, interest rates are heading higher. So the Fed doesn't really have a heck of a lot of choice, and they don't really want this TED spread to get out of control here, right? A reading above 100 implies that the credit markets are seizing up, so we don't really want to see that. So as a result, the talk that I saw this morning is, all right, we got the political situation sort of under control now, and if I'm not mistaken, if you want to, by all means, Mr. Trump right now is having a press conference, and it'll be interesting. I mean, this guy's such a character. I'm sure he's going to spin yesterday as some sort of win for him. But I would just simply say I like the idea that that in essence he's got a little bit of a leash around his neck right now, and hopefully the rhetoric, the tone won't be as abrasive as it's been over the past couple of years. That's really what I'd like to see. Now, with regard to the market, I think what we really have to concentrate on now is what's the plan for the Fed. Are they still continuing to raise rates? Do we see the yield curve invert and basically set the stage for the next recession? So I think this is really going to be sort of what we're going to be watching. And from what I understand, the data is still coming out fairly strong. And so as a result, I think we have to expect, like I said, really, you want to make it easy. I would just say simply follow the TED spread. And if the euro dollars keep moving higher, interest rates keep moving higher, prices keep moving lower, then the Fed really doesn't have any choice. So that's sort of the backdrop. What I thought was really cool, and of course this is going to continue to build out over the next probably weeks and months, is we now have the screener feed up and running. I've just asked Sjord to give me, because I like to have ideas to chew on, just a very simple 13 EMA bullish cross here with the short moving averages below the slower moving averages. So at least it gives us a nice shopping list. And if I'm not mistaken, at the very end of today's presentation, James is actually going to walk us through how he sort of came up with his awesome little long trade that he had the other day on, what was it, Mylan Labs, if I'm not mistaken. We were sort of talking about how it popped violently there the other day. So the great part about this is actually information that you can use to go and make money from trading. So hats off, Sjord, kicking ass. I mean, and what's so cool is I can see the site coming together. I can see things gelling. And so actually this is probably a really good dovetail. We recently brought on sort of a marketing expert to try and sort of clean up the TRI ship, get us pointed in a good direction, sort of focus our efforts, highlight the things that we're missing on the site, and give us, serious, direction in our marketing efforts. And I think we're at the point now where, through the daily briefs, through the crypto portfolio and my trading, through our, Thomas's contributions, etc. And I really think we have the site is actually starting to become relatively usable and valuable on a daily basis. So a key component of this, it was bringing Albert on as our sort of marketing guy, and just get this ship pointed in a great direction. And so to that end, Albert has been working diligently with Sjord to put a lot of these tools in place. And you'll notice on, I just happen to have the screener page open, but I start these daily briefs. Alex always has me on the dashboard where you can find, just basically a video catalog. Actually, I'm not even quite sure how this works. We should probably do like a walkthrough of this. But nonetheless, Albert, if you've got your microphone handy, this is probably, a good sort of segue for you. Albert's been working diligently with Sjord on this referrals program. And we asked that maybe Albert come on today and just talk us through what he's done here and what the sort of plan is. So Albert, are you ready to rock and roll?
Yes, sir. Here I am. Hi, everyone.
All right. And just a geographic, maybe you could throw up a picture of where the hell Gibraltar is, so I could give Shane and Andrew and Reza a geography lesson.
Yeah, you were telling me, right? Well, it's if everyone knows where Spain is, it's literally at the southern point.
Yeah.
And it belongs to the United Kingdom, since we have Jamie coming on to present later on.
Well, there you go. Score.
Look at him. Part of Spain, maybe after Brexit. Jamie says that, asks in the Hangouts if it's part of Spain. And obviously it's not. It's part of the United Kingdom, and I'm pretty sure it will remain after Brexit as well.
All I know is that Albert got off his butt when he found out that I was coming to Europe, and he came all the way to Vienna. And we had such a great time. What do you think, Alex? Was Albert a lot of fun in Vienna?
It all was a lot of fun, and yeah, we got to do it again, I guess.
Totally. So we had Leduc the other day. He was one of our Vienna crew. We got Dan. I see you, Dan, over on the YouTube page, and here's Albert. So we had such a cool crew there in Vienna. But where do you want to take us today, Albert? What should we talk about?
Yeah, so let's talk a bit about the Refer a Friend program. But just before that, I just wanted to thank everyone for all the very nice reviews that they've posted on Trustpilot. And we've got a bit more than a dozen now, and they're all very, very nice. And if anyone else wants to put one up, then just contact me.
Is there a link or something that I should just show them here while we've got you, or do we want to maybe attack that another day?
Let's attack that another day.
Okay.
It's basically, no, actually, let's do it now. If you can go to the website and on the testimonials page quickly, it won't take more than a minute to show it off.
Okay. Is that here?
No, that's literally on the .com website.
Okay. So if I click on there,
and then go to the testimonials, the menu on top. There's a button there, testimonials. Perfect. And today there should have been there it is. So just below what members say, CR14 reviews on Trustpilot, and you can click on that as well. Basically there, and that's literally the third party that we were talking about. I think a week ago. We've invited a lot of people. Some of them, like before we even invited, some of them just got in touch with me, and they, as you can see, they pretty much all of them are 5 stars, and they're pretty amazing.
Yeah, this is beautiful, man. Holy jeez.
Yeah, and they're all like they're fully verified in there. You can see after each one.
That's great, because I mean, this isn't bullshit. These people are speaking from their hearts. You guys are gonna make me cry if I go read this. So wow, thank you so much, everybody, and great. I mean, the bottom line here is we want to change your guys' life. So as Alex says, we're life changing. And actually, Reza, you just are brand new. I think Reza was a collective sell last night from all of us. We came at him from about 3 or 4 different angles. So, Reza, if you can't believe Shane and Andrew and I from last night, well, just go read these reviews, okay? I mean, this is what we want to do, is we want to change your life. So that's beautiful. Fucking awesome. Excellent stuff, Albert. And this is the kind of thing where Brian's an old trader dude, right? Hey, where's your trading plan? What's your setups? What's risk management? But I'm not really good at this stuff, and this is exactly why we brought Albert on, was to sort of clean up our act and get us pointing in a good direction. So awesome stuff. And by all means, is this just the link? I just copy this and just throw it in the lounge if anybody else wants to do one.
Yeah.
Okay, I will do exactly that. Link copied and link pasted. Boom. I'll even paste it over on the YouTube page for you guys. So if you believe in TRI and you'd like to help us out, by all means, write up a nice little sort of comment on what we do here. I would appreciate it. Okay, where do we want to go next, sir?
We want to go back now to the dashboard and to the referral program.
Okay, dashboard. Perfect. And the referrals, this link right here?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's actually where I am right now, right?
Exactly, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so we've soft launched it on Monday already. It's been there for a few days, but we wanted to test it. And earlier today, I think about 4 hours ago, we blasted an email to hopefully everyone. We target pretty much everyone that logged in for the past 1-2 months. So hopefully all of you guys have got it. The nice part about it is that we're launching with a promotion, but I'll leave that for the end. And I'll start with like a very quick walkthrough. So this is like everyone, when they go to this page, they'll see the same as you do right now. There's a pre-populated referral code there, based on which we'll track the friends that are referred. And you can either use, exactly, yeah. You can either use that one code to invite one or more friends, or you can generate a new code for each friend. However you want to do it, it will track correctly, and it's tested for that. The actual inviting is done via email, and that's that button, that green button on the right. Perfect. If you click it, and there will be a pop-up showing. There's a content for the email already pre-populated there, and you only have to put the name of your friend, the email, and obviously you can also change that content. It doesn't have to be like that.
And for now, this is $100. Is that correct?
No, that is actually correct. It's $50 for the referred friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's $100 for everyone who refers a friend that actually goes and signs up to our level 1 school.
Okay, cool. I seem to remember you said there's we have a special sort of discount promotion or something right now.
Yeah. So we haven't presented it as a very a special thing. We've wanted to put it there lightly. We didn't want to necessarily sell aggressively the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yes, the program is designed to give $50 for any member that refers another friend that gets on the school.
Okay.
And that's as a reward, and the friend gets $50 directly as a discount when they purchase.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah, but basically, what we thought, okay, we want to give all our existing members, we want to show them that we appreciate them. We want to give them a chance to refer until November 19th, I think it was, and then get basically double that reward to $100.
Okay. Very professional, man. This looks so good. You guys, yeah, I mean, you're master programmer, Albert marketing guy, Julian sort of operationals manager. I mean, you guys are one hell of a team. So this is looking so pro. Way to go, man.
Yeah.
And Stuart, if you watch this later on, right, top-notch work. You're so pro, man. Way to go. Way to go.
I think Stuart is with Maud right now.
All right. The boss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and as Christian was saying already, and thank you, Christian, for already using this. If you don't want to invite via email, if it's easier for you to invite via social media, then all those buttons there, you can invite by, I mean, they're pretty familiar. You can invite via Facebook, via WhatsApp, via Twitter. You can post on or private message on LinkedIn via that button there, or you can simply copy the link and send it directly on whatever means you want.
That's cool, man. All right, awesome. And actually, Bobo, if you're watching this later on, I know you wanted to sign your dad up, if I'm not mistaken, or your father-in-law or something like that. So this is a perfect opportunity, Bobo, for you to break him in on that note. So, all right, awesome. All right, anything else we wanted to review while we have you here this morning?
I think that's about it. Hope everyone likes it. And if there's anything that isn't working as it should, or if anyone has any suggestions to improve it, then obviously feel free to reach out to me or Stuart, but mainly me. And that will be very much appreciated.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so all right, so here are some questions already. Changes already asking a question, so maybe Albert, you can sort of peruse questions if you happen to see post in the Hangout here, and maybe just type a response, or maybe even change if you want to PM Albert, and then that way we can sort of funnel them directly, and you get straight answers right away. So
yeah, perfect.
All right. Thank you very much, Albert. Excellent presentation. We did just lose James and Adam, so I wonder if the Puerto Rican internet just crashed. But next up on the docket, we've been waiting for a while to have this gentleman come on the site. He's doing some fantastic work with fundamental analysis, macro analysis, and so without further ado, we're going to pop on over to the UK and hook up with our good buddy Jamie. How are you doing this morning, Jamie? You got a microphone over there?
How are we doing, guys? Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Shall I screen share?
I don't know. Do you have any face masks or anything on today? That freaked me out when you saw that when I saw that the other day.
It's going to be
if you can, and maybe we should just do a quick plug for you guys. But if you can, try and come out to the UK meetup. What's the date of that meetup?
It is the 15th, I believe. I think we've got about 17 people so far coming, so it's looking like it's going to be an interesting night, definitely. So
right. So Jamie, I know Jamie went and got like pictures of Brian on face masks and stuff. So it's going to be a very interesting evening. But the 15th of December, in fact, I even told Stuart, because he's kind of close to you, that I would like him to be there. So I'm going to buy him a train ticket or a plane ticket to get him over there.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
To participate with you guys. So just a heads up, and Jamie's sort of like our lead in the UK, working with guys like Raf and Bobo and Warwick and stuff. You know, maybe if you want more information about that UK meetup, maybe we should even create like a room or something for you guys so you can chat on the site. But nonetheless, that's coming down the pike. So if you want to meet Jamie in person, get your butt out to that UK meetup. Jamie's got on his screen, and do you want to like share his screen, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, we're doing that.
Awesome. All right. So Jamie, you got the floor. I'm actually really curious. I'd like to. I'm going to sit and listen to Jamie's presentation. So I'm going to put myself on mute. Fire when ready.
Thank you. Right then, guys. So I thought today we basically talk about something that Brian likes to talk about a lot, which is the process. Very important. So I thought I'd share something that I use part of my process, which are leading indicators. So what I mean by leading indicators are basically macro fundamental data that basically shows a confirmation before it happens to the market. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I did student loans, and then this week I came across a report from UBS, which is as you can see here, the UBS Global Real Estate Bubble Index. So I'm sure Brian talked about Toronto and Vancouver. So this is basically an index that they do on a yearly basis and talk about house prices. Okay, so as you can see here, with your list of the ones that are in bubble territory. So you've got Hong Kong, Munich, Toronto, Vancouver, Amsterdam, and London. The comments in it are actually quite interesting, to be honest. So your price to income ratio on a 60-meter squared apartment has gone from 5.5 in 2008 all the way to 7.5 today. Hong Kong gets 22, which is pretty crazy. They talk about the first cracks already. So I know here in London, I know a couple of people who actually buy properties in London, and they're putting like 40% of what the house prices are and actually getting deals already here in London. So yeah, it looks like construction is definitely on the way. If anybody wants the report, so this is the UBS report here. I'll just put it in the chat for you. There we are. All right. Okay. And then I thought I'd talk about a couple of different indexes to basically show the construction industry and the house pricing industry at the moment as well. So this is the Case-Shiller Home Price Index. So for people who don't know what this is basically the average home price for single home families. So as you can see here, so the gray line here, that's the recession from 2008. You can see here from the dip, basically, of the house prices just crashing down. And now we've gone back above to pre-2008 levels. Okay. So the most important thing to take from this is basically, so ideas. So the way I like to look at things before I even look at charts are looking at leading indicators to then create ideas, because there's so many ideas out there, so much data that you can basically just make, like you can make any trade you want. So I thought I'd show as well, which is a leading indicator that I use quite frequently, which is the housing building permits. So these are housing building permits for the US. So these come out every month. So this is, so you've got your blue line here, which is GDP. You've got the building permits, which is the green line here. So I thought I'd show if I could zoom in a little bit. Right, okay. So as you can see here, this is actually a really quite beautiful long-term trend line from 1990 all the way till 2008 until it broke that channel. The diamonds here, so these are basically for all of the TRI students who have done level 1 already. This is the inverted yield curve. So you could have used this as a confirmation to confirm that obviously a recession was about to come. As you can see at the moment, the reason why I've showed everybody today was because this is the current trend line. And June this year, we actually broke to the downwards on the building permits. So I thought, so in June 2018 that was. So I thought I'd show me, where are we? So I thought I'd show the ETF. So this is the Home Builders ETF. So to just give you an idea of how powerful the leading indicators are. So June, we're coming from June. So the statistics come out a month later. So we're looking at the end of July. So even if we look at the end of July here, you could have then taken a setup. Well, as you can see, it's kind of paid off, to be honest. So yeah, so the building permits come out every month. It's a great leading indicator for the construction industry. I thought I'd show some, since I'm from the UK, I thought I'd show the UK one as well. So this is from the ONS, so the Office for National Statistics. Okay, so these are the new build dwellings. So we're also in a trend line here. So we're coming from all the way from October 2012, I believe, all the way up to now, and it looks like that the starts are starting. Well, we'll wait till next month, but I think we're going to see them go to the downtrend. So I thought these basically great indicators to just give you ideas before you then start looking at setups, just to build your own view of how you see the market. So I thought I'd show one for the. So this is Barratt's. And so for anybody who doesn't know who Barratt's are, they're basically a home building company in the UK. So I thought I'd show the 2008. So we had huge divergence here on the MACD. And yeah, since then it's gone pretty crazy from about, I think the low is about, what are we looking here? to low 22, and now we're all the way up to around 525. So yeah, so I thought just something to keep an eye on. It was basically as soon as we start seeing the Dow trend from the new build dwellings all the way down, and then take a trade. Basically, at the moment you can see that it's condensing a little bit here. So yeah, so basically just to recap, so looking at top-down fundamentals, so your dynamic yield curves, if anybody's done level 3, your seasonality, and then just creating ideas. So before you even look at charts, just think about where we are in the cycle. You know, just do as much research as you can. So just looking at anything really, I'll spend a few hours a day just typing in random things, whether it's demographics or anything at all. There's literally so many different trades and ideas you can get out there. Then looking at your sector leading indicators. So current economic cycle, we're clearly getting ready now for a recession. So that's obviously going to impact construction. So you then look at your leading indicators. And then from looking at your leading indicators, then look at a correct stock, or if you're fortunate in the US, you have an ETF. And then look at your technical analysis. So yeah, that's me. Yeah, if anybody wants a link, I've got the link for the ONS as well for any UK people here. I'll pop them both in the lounge as well. But that is everything from myself. So if anybody has any questions, just let me know. And you can inbox me, or even just in the chat now. I'll be here until the end, so just let me know.
Right. And if anything, I like the idea of us, you know, going through the process of seeing the market getting ready to break, and then, you know, picking whatever sector it is that you're interested in. Excuse me. And then just simply being patient and disciplined and waiting for the setup within the individual sector. So fantastic work, Jamie. Great stuff. And I really like that that cover picture, the process, right? That's great stuff. Great stuff. And if anything, we could probably do that just step by step as we go through the various different sectors. So you're doing the housing sector now. It'd be really interesting to see if, you know, on the weeks and months ahead, you could do some work on technology and where Bitcoin and all that kind of fits into all these macro pictures. So
yeah, it's quite difficult for Bitcoin because there's hardly any historical data, so it's so difficult to try and find. I think Thomas talks about emerging markets, which has
but they did notice that I saw a guy recently on Twitter was pointing out that there's a big disconnect between those two markets now. So it worked for a little while, but then that went away. But all good. Just fantastic work, sir. Really appreciate it. And was this was that like a slide deck or something that we can attach to this video for people? Or is there just a couple screenshots or something that we can...
Yeah, it's a PowerPoint presentation, so I can send that over to you if you wish.
Totally awesome. Yeah, if you could just send that to Mr. Habsburg, and he'll just attach it to today's video. So as people are sort of watching through, you know, when they go back and watch this later on, then we'll tag it so that if people want to watch this, you know, months down the road. And I'll even, you know, like when we do see the market break, because, you know, the break is coming at some point over the next year or so. We'll see how this housing data correlates to that break. So great stuff, dude. Awesome. All right. Any closing thoughts? Shall we leave it at that, sir? Do you feel like you've said your piece?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'll leave it over to you.
Okay. All right, so we did have and we had quite a bit of information that we wanted to impart on the community today. So thank you very much, Jamie, for that presentation. Totally appreciate it. And next up on the docket, we're actually going to change gears here quite a bit. We're going to zoom on over to the Caribbean and check in with the Puerto Rican connection. I've wanted to get these guys on the site to just sort of give an update to our community on how their adventures in this new tax haven are going. And if I'm not mistaken, we do have a few members that are seriously considering just picking up and moving to Puerto Rico. So I think this is perfectly timed, especially in crypto now that it's nice and quiet. Maybe you want to get all your ducks in line so that when the next big face rip comes and you're sitting on massive capital gains, you're already set up. So if anything, this part of the cycle, this is a great time for us to review what the situation is in Puerto Rico. And to that end, we've asked Adam to come on. There he is, Mr. Cave Bear.
Hello, hello.
How are you this morning, sir?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Awesome. I saw you. And actually, it's really interesting watching you. You're banging out doubles versus ETH pairs. That kind of threw me for a loop when I saw that recently, but you're just like, boo, 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 doubles, 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 doubles. Hey, whatever it takes, a double is a double is a double. So congratulations on the trades recently. I've been watching you in the lounge just banging out those wins. So way to go, dude.
Thank you.
And
learned it all from you.
I beg your pardon?
Well, I learned it all from you. Thank you.
Oh, well, okay, cool. That's awesome. That I always appreciate that. And we've got James also in Puerto Rico. I don't know how closely you guys work. I don't know whether you both want to present together here today or not. But James also did an awesome trade in the options pits just earlier in the week. So he's actually going to also, I don't know whether he's going to add anything to the Puerto Rican presentation per se, but we also have James as sort of backup to Adam. The two of them are sort of our representatives there in Puerto Rico. James, you want to give a big hello to everybody here this morning?
Hi, guys.
Hi, hi. And also, as I said earlier, James did an awesome trade in the options pit, and we thought we'd give him an opportunity just to explain what he did there the other day. So I don't know how you two want to handle this, but long and short of it here, you've got the microphone, you've got the stage. What do you want me showing these people? Do we want to work off of your screen, Adam, or do we want to
Let's go off your screen if you don't want to click on the link.
All right.
And so James and I both live in Rincon, Puerto Rico, and we have our own TRI get-togethers fairly regularly.
Well, that's cool.
They sort of look like
before we move forward, I want to make sure I'm on the right screen. What should I be showing these people?
The spreadsheet that I sent you, or the presentation I sent you the other day.
Okay, where is that? Yeah, give me a second. Brian needs to put on his head on straight. Total lack of professionalism. This slacker, get your act together. All right, did it. Phew.
And then just hit that present button in the upper right.
Upper right. Right is over here. There we go. Yep. Present. Oh, fancy schmancy.
So James and I live in the same town. We live in Rincon, Puerto Rico. And we have TRI get-togethers fairly regularly, which kind of look like bonfires on the beach at night.
Oh, awesome.
So there's lots of firewood here for that. And what I'm going to do is, or what we're going to do is, we're going to run through sort of this presentation really quick, just so you have an understanding of what the laws are here for the tax stuff. Then we're going to open it up for questions and answers, maybe tell you a little bit about what it's like to live here. And let's run through the presentation rapidly, though, to sort of give you an idea of what's going on here.
Sure.
Go to the next.
You want to like say beep or something like that when you want me to move slides? I'll go for it.
All right. So the basic law here is that the Act 22 is for individuals, and the long and the short of it is that once you qualify for Act 22, you are 100% exempt on capital gains, period. So any money you make from trading, you are not taxed at. You file your profit and loss at the end of the year, and your accountant just says you owe 0 in taxes, and you're done. That's basically in a nutshell. It's the best thing going as far as capital gains. You pay 0 in taxes. The thing that you need to be mindful of, and which Brian touched on, was that any gains that you realize prior to moving to Puerto Rico do not qualify. So being in a bear market right now is an advantage for you if you're considering moving to Puerto Rico. You should do it. You would want to consider doing it while the market is very low. So
Thomas just asked here, they just voted on Act 22?
no, this was set up in, I believe, 2008 originally.
Okay,
but they kept it going, and they keep improving it and changing the laws and bylaws on it. But it's,
I think, yeah, they actually brought it up for like a review, and it had to do with whether or not the cryptocurrencies were going to be exempt or not. Because I think, like, when you actually read it, I think it says like investment assets or something like that. And I think they wanted to go in there and wanted to revise it and make it more like defined. And so a lot of people were concerned that they were going to go in there and define it as just stocks or just bonds. And they had that up for review, and I actually watched that pretty closely. And I think what they actually came out and did is they decided, I can't remember if it was like postponement, but they ended up basically saying they put it on the shelf and basically kept it as it is. Yeah. They kept it how it originally was, where it's just investment assets. And so, and I actually asked my lawyer about that. He just said, yeah, that covers everything, your crypto and everything. So it's still good. And then like, when I moved here, they had all that stuff up in the air, right? And kind of what I asked the lawyer was basically if I got it in, because I had applied right before they put it up for review or whatnot. Basically, I was going to get grandfathered in on the old. The old rules. So if they do change it at some point and you've come over, and got grandfathered in the old rules, then I don't think you have much to worry about there.
Okay.
I'm sorry, there, Adam. You're doing great.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification, James. Appreciate that. All right, so are we done this slide? Is there anything else you want to talk about here, or are we? Do you want to say beep and have me move on? All right, what's next?
So the next is Act 20. So Act 20 is if you want to move your business to Puerto Rico. Say, for instance, TRI wanted to move their business to Puerto Rico. They would have a total tax rate of 4% instead of 39, 40% for U.S. federal tax. I'm not sure what you pay with Canada, but I know a lot of companies that are moving down here in a lot of different ways. A lot of hedge fund managers. Even what I run into quite regularly are folks who are consultants in any company that are paid by a 1099. Can basically come here, open up a company as being a consultant, and get paid by their own company in order to be here, and only pay 4% in taxes instead of federal and state taxes. So once you get the Act 20, you're guaranteed for 20 years, and then it's renewable for another 10 years. You also get 100% tax exemption on property taxes during your first 5 years of operation, and then it goes down from there. You can employ just yourself. There's no minimum number of employees. There's some other loopholes that you want to consider, like if you are paying yourself any kind of salary, you will want to pay yourself as little as possible so that you don't have to pay a lot of Puerto Rican taxes, and then you can take your dividends out of your company tax-free. So you're getting paid in the form of dividends instead of salary. Just something to consider.
Cool beans. Well, you've already got Zach's attention, so way to go. Yeah, that's a good sign.
Nice.
Zach's over in Hawaii. So Zach's going, well, do I live in this paradise or do I move to that paradise?
I lived in Maui for 6 years, and it's fairly similar in a lot of ways.
Oh, cool. Awesome. And actually, maybe, I don't mean to derail you guys, but maybe you and James can just talk a little bit of what's society like there. Is it, do you still have rolling blackouts? Are there gangs running on the streets and stuff,
James?
You defer to James on that one, eh?
Okay, so there are some the power goes out once in a while, and it actually was funny. Me and Adam were sitting here while Jamie was doing his presentation, I think, and the power actually went out for about 30 seconds, and Adam texted me and said, "Oh, hey, you're probably gonna have to do the presentation. The power's out." And I texted, "Well, yeah, mine just went out too."
We watched both of you guys drop like instantaneously together. So
Yeah.
we were wondering what happened there.
But anyways, it came back on pretty quick today. And there's been a couple times where it was out for a couple hours. I have like cable internet, so whenever the electricity goes out, my internet goes out too. But I've been really surprised. I got my laptop computer and I've got my smartphone, and I actually helped Brian actually teach class one day just off of my laptop and my wireless my hotspot, my mobile hotspot. So that was kind of encouraging to me. Like I knew if I was had something really important to do, I'm fairly confident even with power all that goes out, that I can just run off the mobile stuff to take care of what I need to really take care of. A couple guys talk.
These guys are just kicking around the idea on the lounge here. Is it an idea to set up like a solar powered sort of backup system for yourself, or would that just?
I think you could. Yeah, I think you definitely could if you wanted to make that kind of investment. I think that's totally possible. A lot of people here actually have backup generators.
I have solar, and on my computers and my internet, I have a battery backups, which lasts me about 2 hours.
That's cool. Okay. All right. Just to keep the train moving forward. I apologize for derailing you there a little bit, but
so living here. Well, one moment, just to touch on this a little bit more. Living here is interesting. Rincon is very, very, very quiet. It's like a surf town. It's known for its surfing. James and I live very different lives here. He's a bachelor. He's out partying every night, and I've got kids, so I'm in bed at 7:30, with the kids. So
okay.
So it's there's different vibes for this island depending on where you want to live and what type of person you are. There are different options for where you can live that might be a better fit for you. Rincon is very quiet, though, just so you know. But it's a lot like America. You don't need to know English at all to really be here. I mean, you don't need to know Spanish.
English is kind of handy, though, eh?
Yes, English is handy.
Have you? How's your Spanish coming? Is your family getting fluent?
My wife and kids. My wife knows Spanish fairly well. My kids are learning it in school.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So.
Yeah,
schooling options here are interesting as well. So that's something to consider before you move here as well.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a change of pace for like somebody who lives in the big city. But I think James was even telling me the capital city there, it's just like being in any other sort of big city, right?
Yeah, the San Juan is a pretty cool big city. But if you go to Old San Juan, it's this really, really like interesting cultural city out there. It's really beautiful, Old San Juan, and that's a cool place to live. There's a lot of crypto there. There's a lot of crypto in Dorado and some other parts of the island.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I know, like, if anything, Adam, if you could give a shout out to Grim, I know he's seriously giving us some thought, and it looks like Thomas here is also giving this some serious thought. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next year or so you're going to have like a little TRI satellite down there. That would be so cool. And maybe next year. Well, actually next year but Thomas, you can't leave Texas because next winter we're going to do the meetup in Texas, right? So if you've gone from Texas, that would suck.
You can always do it in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, that's just it, right? And, you know, Puerto Rico's not such a bad place in the wintertime for us to go. So, yeah, that's actually, there's a good question for you. How do you find the medical system there? Do you have any concerns about your family and doctors and dentists and stuff like that?
Okay, so like where I live, it's super quiet, but there is a clinic right downtown. I cut my foot once really bad, and I drove down to the hospital. I got 10 stitches. I drove back, and I was home within 45 minutes.
Wow.
And it cost me $125.
Oh, fuck me. Damn.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just run with cash. I mean, if my kids break an arm or something, I'd probably get it set here and then, you know, go to a better hospital. But, you know, I don't need dialysis or anything like that. So, I mean, I wouldn't move here if I had something where I needed consistent medical care.
Okay. So just mental note. But, you know, like San Juan, stuff like that, they've got like, you know, basically full infrastructure and stuff, you know, if you did need to see a doctor or something serious.
Totally. And, you know, I mean, I fly to New York City regularly, and it's like a 4-hour flight. It's really fast to get to New York City. Or Florida's like 2.5, 3 hours.
Wow. Yeah, when I used to live down in St. Thomas, and all of the white people there would go, if I get sick, just take me to Miami. Just take me to Miami. Take me to Miami. So I'm sure the little sort of backwaterburg Virgin Islands, you know, the hospitals are non-existent. But Puerto Rico, when I remember being there, it is a fairly developed. I just wonder, you know, with all of this sort of talk about infrastructure problems in Puerto Rico, how life is on a day-to-day basis. But
I generally don't notice any challenges with infrastructure. I mean, occasionally the electricity goes out for a short time, but that's about the end of it.
Okay, shall we move on with the presentation?
Beep.
All right, there's Brian's cue. All right, what's next? Act 7-3.
So if you want to start off a bank or a hedge fund or something like that, Puerto Rico is the least expensive, fastest place to do it. And the cool thing about it is that when you start up a bank, you are part of the US banking system. And the beauty of it is that you can pay 4% on profits, or you can retain those profits in the company, tax deferred. So, you know, the thing about having a bank, if you want to have a TRI bank, you need to have $5 million in assets and $250,000 in a local bank account while you're setting it up. Mm-hmm. In legal fees, it's about $60,000 to $80,000 to actually set it up if you use a lawyer, or you can do it for yourself for like about $7,500.
Okay, definitely something for us to consider. Have you actually, do you know anybody who's actually gone ahead and set up a bank through all this?
Brock Pierce is the only person I know who's actually set up a bank doing this, but he did it with some other people as well. So, and yeah, he's out here. He's at an old San Juan with his group of people that go with him everywhere. He's a crypto character for sure.
Okay, cool. I'm not familiar, but that's cool. And Thomas asked, do the locals still hate him?
Yeah, he's not very popular.
Oh, okay. Well, then that must be why I don't know him, because, you know, I only hang out with the popular people, right?
That's something I wanted to throw in there too. Like,
okay.
You look at anything on YouTube, and that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see all this like stuff about Brock Pierce, and you're gonna say like they have all this stuff about like disaster capitalists and stuff like that, and you see all these fourth generation Puerto Ricans and stuff here, all angry about the new people coming in, and that's a lot of. I mean, I think there is some of that, but my experience, like everybody here has actually been very kind and helpful, and I mean, just really wonderful people. I mean, that's been my experience. It's been very, very good. The only person that I got annoyed, I've even really been annoyed with here was the guy I rented the car from at the airport. I mean, seriously, it's everybody
Me
here.
too. Me too. That guy, I hate that guy.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's priceless. You actually know who you're talking about. Oh, that's great.
The short guy, right? The short heavyset guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that guy's the worst.
So we should just maybe put a picture, get a picture of him. So anybody who's going to Puerto Rico, just avoid this gentleman if you can, please. That's great. Okay, so if you want to set up a bank in Puerto Rico, you've got the terms: $5 million in assets and 250 grand in cash in a local bank. That might be beyond quite a few of us here, but maybe it's something for us to shoot for down the road. All right, do we want to move on? We
Sure, let's move on.
All right, to qualify. All right.
So you need to have physical presence in Puerto Rico for 183 days during the taxable year. You can't spend more than 182 days in the U.S. So if you live out of the country, or if I have friends that don't go to the U.S. very often, and they're only here like 3 months or so, and they still qualify because you can do a domicile test based on intent. So there's a loophole there. Something really interesting to note is if you are not an American, you can still get these advantages and all these tax advantages by going for a green card. So if you're in Europe or Canada or anything like that, you can get all of these same advantages as European or Canadian. You can't have a tax home outside of Puerto Rico, or maintain close connections in the United States or any other foreign country than closer connection in another country than Puerto Rico. I don't know how they verify this or check this. I know people who still own property or businesses in other areas, and it's not a deal breaker. And then finally you have to either own a house or give $5 grand a year to a Puerto Rico-based charity of your choice to qualify for the Act 183. And I've got charities you can donate to if you are looking for charities. So cost of living here, interesting question. So in Rincon, where I live, you can get a 3-bedroom house with a kitchen and everything like that up in the hills, sort of 10 minutes away from the beach, 15 minutes from the beach, for $500 a month. So I live closer to the beach and I pay less than $2 grand a month, but I know people that spend $3,500 to $4,000 a month on houses around here. It just depends on what quality of life and what location you choose. Phone service is a lot less expensive here. I think I'm paying about $30 a month for 10 gigabytes of internet on my phone. Internet is, I think I'm paying like, what, $90 a month, James? That sound about right? Fast internet. And
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, so it's if you're coming down here with just yourself, I think you can get away for a couple grand a month. If you're coming down here with a family, you need to think a little bit about schools and schooling options. And I'm happy to field some questions about that. Our lawyer is also a really good resource for helping you get settled. He's willing to answer as many questions you have as you're considering whether or not to move down here. But the thing that I want to emphasize, and the reason that it's such a timely presentation here, is that it's beneficial to move here or to establish your move-in date while the market is very low, in my opinion, so that you're not taxed on the gains that you're going to realize once this market goes back to the moon.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. Did we just lose Adam, though?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's about all I got. I'm happy to field questions, or James field questions about what it's like to live here, or.
All right. Yeah, I think that's great. We did have a Puerto Rican interest group document that was floating around for a while. I used to have it up on my tabs all the time. I don't seem to have it handy. Do you guys have that document still lying around? We actually had a really long list of people who were interested at the top of the market. But if we do still have that document floating around, you know, if you have questions for Adam or James, we could always plug them in there. And, you know, I don't know whether you're interested, Adam, or not, but, you know, going forward, we could entertain the idea of sort of a communal, you know, fund or something along those lines. There you go. Thank you, Adam. Awesome. So here is that document that I was just referring to just a moment ago. So, you know, I think we had quite a long list of people that were interested. You know, I'm more than happy. I absolutely have no problem whatsoever. I could totally throw 10, 20 grand into some sort of communal fund to get sort of a TRI presence up and running on the island. So that's we'll leave that sort of floating in the background, and maybe it'll, you know, gain traction over time here. All right. So is there anything else you wanted to add before we wind this presentation up here today, guys? Anything that we sort of missed that you think is important to mention to these people, James? No,
just don't be, you know, like I was really, it kind of almost intimidated to come here, and I just kind of reassure people that it's really not a scary place. I mean, I've been just shocked how simple coming here actually has been, and how simple living here has actually been, and it's not a scary place. That's just all I want to say. You know, it's nothing to be afraid of.
Awesome. And you're like a swinging bachelor dude too, so you're getting yourself into trouble all the time, right? So
Yeah. James is way more familiar with the party life here than I am, for sure. I'm familiar with, you know, like the 6 and 8 birthday party scene now, I'll tell you.
Okay, there's a tempting lead in, right? We'll leave that dangling out there. Okay, excellent presentation, guys. Sounds really good. Thank you so much for putting the time and effort into bring the community up to speed. And I think we probably do this like once every 6 months or so. So thank you very much, Adam, for the hard work that you put into this to get us sort of schooled on this. And if anything, I did see that Europeans, Albert is making reference to Gibraltar has sort of very similar sort of tax policies. So maybe we might want to sort of dovetail those that are in North America, consider Puerto Rico. Those that are in Europe, maybe consider Gibraltar. But, you know, maybe we'll explore that with Albert down the road. But thank you so much for this awesome information, guys. Totally appreciate it. James, did we want to sort of finish up today's offering with just a quick review of your little options trade you did the other day?
Yeah, sure. I can run you guys through that real quick if you want. It's just pretty simple.
So just to finish off Adam's and James's presentation, if you have any further questions, be sure to and Adam, is this the kind of document that we can pin to this video on the site so people can look through this if they're watching this later on?
Sure. And if folks want to PM me on the site, I go by Cave Bear. And so you can just shoot me a message there if you have any questions. I'm happy to share my lawyer's information too, and he's a very good resource. Even before you give him any money, he's happy to help answer any questions that you have.
So there is Cave Bear. You can see on my screen. There's Adam and his cool picture. You see the same on the Hangout. So, okay. Thank you very much, sir. Totally appreciate that. Rock and roll. All right, James. I do have to head off to teach our Wednesday session here, so we should probably sort of wind this up here. But did you have a screen share or something that you wanted to show us the trade, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, if I'll share my screen if you guys want to.
Yep. The mayor has already done that. He's so good at this stuff. So I don't even have to. I'll ask, and then Alex will go. Yep, already on it. So.
Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Let's see. I see. Yep. Looks like I own 135 call with 6 months of life, free and clear.
Okay. Yeah. So this Mylan. Big shout out to Sjord. He's got that awesome screener going, and I actually was talking to Brian and Raph actually on it's like the level 2 or 3 class as we were getting set up last week, and they were talking about there was a different stock that had come up on there, and they were talking about potentially trading some of these stocks for kind of on those scanners with options, and so. They had this Mylan come up a day or two later, and I think Brian even talked. I don't know if they specifically talked about Mylan, but it come up in one of the screenshots of the screener they had that day, and so I decided to go through that list of stocks that come up on Sjord's screener, and I was interested to see if maybe I could find some of Brian's TRI SOF secret options formula plays. They will teach you in the level 3 program. And so I went through a few of them, and I come across this Mylan, and I saw that we had the I think it come up as like under the L-Tangminator screener, but you can see we had the confirmed MACD divergence here, where price made a low and then a lower low, but the MACD made a low, a higher low, and it confirmed here. And then this is Alex's little rendition of the Willie indicator. I really like that where it highlights whenever it gets stupidly overbought or overly sold. And I saw that it hadn't quite come out of being stupidly oversold, but it was trending back up, and so I felt fairly confident about that. And then the big thing, if you look here, kind of zoom in, we had a confirmed market structure W in price, and so I think it was back here. It was like Thursday or Friday last week, and I saw all this. And what I really like too is. Or what Brian teaches you is whenever you're looking for one of these secret options plays, you'll look at the 52-week range. So you look over the last year, and you can see here, we've had this high back here last January, and then it come down here kind of to the bottom of the range, and you find wherever your 50% rule is. So here at the 39.08, and so I knew it'd come up on the scanner, and I saw that it pretty well met the parameters for one of the L-Tangminator trades that I'd like to take, and I went and looked at the options, and I found that I could get an April, because you want to buy about 6 months of time, right? And the idea is, of this 52 weeks, ideally, right, in 6 months time, there's almost like a 50% rule in time. So you're hoping to see it, in 6 months time to retrace, 50% of the price in 50% of the time.
LED GAN for the win.
Yeah, LED GAN for the win. But so here when it broke out, I went and started looking and pricing some options, and I looked at the Aprils, and I found this $35 call, and I think actually when and this is actually I saw I think Grim figured this out. You can actually go over to Thinkorswim by TD Ameritrade and get the actual charts of the option prices. But I think
ooh, that's sexy.
Thursday or Friday, and when I pulled up the options, it was actually it was like 214 or something like that. And going back, what Brian says is you got to go from your call, your strike price, and then measure to your 50% rule. And his rule is that you can't pay what you pay for the option has to be at least half of what the intrinsic value would be at the 50% level. So
at most half.
At most half. Sorry, I have a hard time. I know how it works in my head, but I have a hard time articulating. But
it's okay, dude. You're doing awesome. You don't have to teach these people how to do it, so you're doing great. Don't stress it. Sorry, but
the intrinsic value here from $35 to the 50%, which is $39.08. That's $4.08. So half of that would be $2.04. So the most I could pay is $2.04. And I decided just to go with $2 because it's a nice round number. And I figured it was going to come down here and test the breakout level. And so I figured when it come down to test the breakout level, that it'd probably drop a couple cents and I'd get a fill. And sure enough, they actually came down, gave me a fill at $2, and I bought 2 of them. And one option, right? It's priced at $2, but one option is for 100 shares of stock. So each of these call options were actually $200. So I paid $400 and I got 2 calls. And then I think it actually traded down to like $1.80 or something like that. So maybe I could have been a little bit more conservative on my bid. So we went through the weekend, and then there into, it was like Monday or Tuesday, they actually had an earnings call. And I think I was reading on there, they actually, they have like a projected earnings, and they actually beat the earnings. And then I think they had some news on one of their drugs that drove this price up. And it actually drove it up above my strike price. So it became, in the money. And price, I thought it was kind of interesting too. It kind of stalled out at the 38.2. But those $2 calls got up to $4, where I had an offer working to sell 1, and so I was able to cash in the 1, and so now I own one $35 call, and I've got it's clear into April, so I have one $35 call with 6 months of life, and I mean I'm sitting in the money, and even this morning when I took the screenshot, so right now it's in that about $4.60. So it's sitting here $460 that I could cash out right now if I wanted. And I think I even asked Brian about it, like, okay, well, this is really awesome. I've done the trade, and I have, it's kind of almost like a little old lady. I have this free position. And I was even kind of asking, like, well, I've got like this insane amount of time. What do I do with this other option? And I guess my original plan was, well, when the underlying, when it actually hits, 50%, then I'll probably go in and cash out this other call option, whatever price it ends up being once I reach the 50% rule. And I suppose that will be at least, $408, but it's already sitting at $460. So maybe
that often happens with a ton of time on these options, that the premium will go up to above what you actually were hoping for. So, and it sure makes playing the stock market a lot easier, right? If you're sitting on a free position.
Yeah.
How do you feel stress-wise? Do you feel any stress over this position now?
Well, right now I feel absolutely no stress at all. I have the money I invested back, and like I say, I've got clear till like April 19th or April 18th, I think, before this option will expire. So I've got lots of time.
Is there any way, would you mind taking a screenshot of that and then also that options chart, and we can sort of tag that to this video too as a nice little explanation?
Yep, I think I actually sent you that in a PM, but I'll just drop these in the main lounge so everybody can get them if they're interested.
All right.
So,
excellent. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that.
What Adam was telling you guys about going to Puerto Rico and about Adam's lawyer. I actually used Adam's lawyer as well, and I just have to say that Adam's lawyer is just helpful as he can be, and a real pleasant person, and definitely, if you're at all interested, man's just a wealth of information, and can't recommend him enough. So that's all I had to say.
Excellent. Okay. Well, guys, that is 20 minutes past the top of the hour. So I think we'll probably want to wind up today's presentation here. Thank you very much, Jamie, for your presentation on the process of building and using fundamental data sets to help you find and define trades. I think that's brilliant stuff and excellent value added for everybody in the community here. Thank you very much, Adam and James, for your valuable information about Puerto Rico and the possibility of relocating to Puerto Rico and some of the sort of key considerations that you should keep in mind with that. And as a special treat, we had a nice little walkthrough of a kick-ass fucking trade our monster options traders are doing on a daily basis, just to show you, you know, what it's like to live the life of a trader. I mean, that was just it's a perfect analogy of what it is that we're trying to both teach you how to do and what all of us basically are trying to do on a daily basis. And like I said, if we can get ourselves into that risk-free position and reduce the anxiety around holding stock positions going forward, it sure makes this game a hell of a lot easier to play over time, right? And our number one goal is to try and keep as much hair on the top of our heads as possible for as long as possible, right? Okay, everybody. And also, too, got to give another shout out to Albert for his awesome walkthrough. Take advantage of that referral discount. And by all means, you know, I mean, we'd love to have the school as full as possible and the site rocking and rolling. And, you know, I think we're demonstrating on a daily basis that this stuff works. It's just a question of just getting your act together and putting the plan together and, you know, taking appropriate risk, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, just keep on keeping on, everybody. You're doing a great job. Slow and steady wins the race. I'm exceedingly proud of the environment that Team TRI is putting together here. We're doing basically JoJo's work. And I'm just so proud of being able to say that I'm part of this community. And you people are all sort of resources that I like to reach out to try and, you know, be a better trader. I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. Mr. Mayor, what do you think? Have we given these people a good solid fill for today?
As usual, yeah.
All right. Why don't we leave it at that? You will be seeing Canadians and Europeans debating about American politics in the lounge. Always enjoyable, fun. I love the banter in the lounge. It's great stuff. I love the 1 + 1 = 3, and I think today's conversation is an excellent example of that. Use this information, reach out to site members to try and get you to help. In fact, we had a great conversation with a new site member, Riza, who's an incredible algorithm programmer, and I think he's going to become a valuable member of our community. So all those people that are Algonauts, keep an eye out for Riza, and if you can work with him, great. You know, I know like guys like Alex, you probably have really, really good conversations with him. I'm also thinking about people like San and Benjamin and everybody. I mean, just have fun working together, and let's all be better for this experience. So. Okay, guys, on that note, I think I'll wind it up. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. Level 3ers, Shane, we will be doing harmonics shortly. And actually, Raf, I think has a special presentation for you guys today. So you're kind of lucky. All right, guys, why don't we leave it at that? Have yourselves a great rest of your day. All the best. And the only thing left to say is a big bye for now.